Okay. Sorry, y'all. I accidentally ended my live. But come back in here. My bad. I accidentally ended my live. But say no more. Yeah, you a mess. You a mess. Take two, you guys. I just accidentally ended my live. I had to start it all over again. But Virgo season once again. I know y'all like, where did she go? Peace and love to the Virgos. Peace and love to everybody. I apologize about my live, like literally just ending 2 seconds ago and having to start it over. So I'm going to put my title back up there in a second because I know most times you need a title. Most people want to know what you're about to be talking about. But build with me, especially the Virgos. Sun sign Virgos, moon sign Virgos, and ascendant Virgos. And honestly, too, wherever you may have Venus or any other aspects to Virgo, this has a lot to do with that. So starting fresh, take two, because I had cut my phone off. But Virgo season is about our responsibilities and our duties, and really, I say going the speed limit with life. Oh, it was me. It was me. I ain't about nothing. It was me. I accidentally had ended the live. I'm not gonna touch my phone anymore. But going the speed limit with our life, paying attention to things, because you have to think about what Virgos are known for, and they're known for analyzing everything and examining everything. And I always call Virgos I always call them the hall monitors of the zodiac. You know, they don't go too fast, they don't go too slow, they just right. And they're always telling other people to slow down, or they're always, paying attention to what other people are doing. And they tend to be very helpful. And so we call Virgo the helpful servant. They're very helpful, they're always there. They're there definitely to be reliable and be there for you. And so this is why they deal with diversion, and this is why they deal with being very meticulous and very careful, and being very, I would say dealing with perfectionists, and dealing with things being organized and being a certain way. And so this is why all this season, all of us are going to have to utilize that type of energy and deal with that, and because a lot of things we all need to pay attention to. And so with this Virgo season, there are illusions, and deceptions and things that may not be real or true, which is why the universe is telling us to go to speed limit right now in our vehicles, in our bodies, and to pay attention to things. Virgo is also dealing with our health. And so it's talking about your diet, and it's talking about exercise. It's at your solar plexus chakra. So a lot of people, all of us, need to deal with that and focus on our health and what you ingest, what you digest, what you take in, mentally, physically, and spiritually. All of that is going to be important all this month, because it helps you to see better, it helps you get clarity, and like I said, wherever there are deceptions, you can see a little bit better, and you can wherever you have trust and faith at, this is where you can get the truth from things with what you're being shown. And so Virgos, I always say, are like the scientists of the zodiac. They don't really believe in anything. They just measure everything. They calculate everything. And so it's not always so much dealing with their faith. And so they always deal with the details of things. They look at the small stuff. And this is why they challenge Sagittarius, because Sagittarius deals with the big stuff and the big strides and how far you're going to go and how big things are and how wide things are. I always say Sagittarius is the highway of life. And so, like I say, if Sagittarius is a highway of life, then it's going to be challenged by the speed limit, which is Virgo. Taking your time, taking your time and being mindful, all right, of everything that you're doing. And it's not so much with intent as much as it is with Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio does a lot of stuff that Virgo does, except the only difference is their intent behind it. And so we would call Scorpio more of the detective, because they're looking for something. They're looking deeper into things, and there's a reason why. I always say with Virgo, there's no real intent. They just being helpful, and they observe things, and it's never really anything personal coming from a Virgo. They just here to help. And a lot of times with Virgos, it can come off critical, and it can come off like somebody's criticizing you, and that don't mean no harm, you guys. And so that's why I want to break down a little bit some behaviors you might run into and some things you might see this month as far as the season. And that's why I say all of our signs have higher self and lower self. So we learn to forgive signs or people for their behaviors. And the thing is, we are all signs. So nobody is ever really just one sign. We are all the signs, which is why I always say, learn about every sign, because you are all the signs, and you learn about yourself when you learn about the signs, and you learn more about yourself and your behaviors through every sign. So that's why when you connect to other people, when you meet people in your life, or I would say other planets, when they come into your space, right? You want to know why certain planets can operate in your space and some planets cannot, because of your environment. And certain planets need certain things to live. And so this is why we all can get along with certain signs, and certain signs we don't get along with, because it goes back to your environment and what you need to survive. And some certain planets orbiting too close in your space can, change your survival. So this is why, we have higher and lower self and all of those things, and why we operate in a certain way. Virgo in highest self is always going to be that helpful servant, that faithful servant that's always going to be there for you, that's always going to be there reliably. And so we always say, for me, the sixth house, which Virgo rules, is like the daily office. It's the daily office, and it's the place where you get things done every day. And the daily office also represents a part of your body, which is dealing with your intestines and your digestive system, which is Virgo. So that's why I say pay attention to everything that you take in this month. This is also dealing with diets. You want to deal with diets. You want to deal with cleanses, all of those things, getting rid of things, voiding things, spending some time with nothing in your body. So fasting would be fantastic, especially because of Virgo season, what you to put into your body, and also giving your intestines and your body a rest. And so when we fast, nobody's in there but you and God. And so when we don't smoke, when we don't drink, when we don't eat anything, when we don't take anything in, watch TV or anything, you really get to know yourself. You really get to know you. And this is when the Virgo really gets to at 180 degrees, really get to know that Pisces part of themselves. And so that's why it goes back to Virgos. They're earth sign. They look down. They deal with details and they deal with facts. And so this is why they don't believe in a lot of things. And this is why they're not very I would say spiritual people or even religious people. Now, they do things religiously, but they're not always religious. And so that when I say religiously, they do things on a routine. They do things with a rhythm. They have a ritual about the way they do things, but they don't always believe. And so because they're an earth sign, they have to be able to touch anything that they're talking about. Okay, and so anytime you're discussing anything with the Virgo, you got to have facts. They got to be able to touch it. They got to be able to see it. All of those things, or they're not going to believe you. And so that's why their thoughts, and this is why their intellect is so on point, but then their faith is what is wavery about them. And what wavers about them is their faith, because they're smart, they know a lot, but Virgos don't always just trust. All right, and Virgos don't always just move first with their feet. So that's why Pisces opposes them. Just trusting and just jumping first, that's not something that Virgo would do. Virgo is going to measure everything before they make a move. Virgo is going to look up everything before they make a move. Virgo checks their list and checks it twice before they do anything. And so this is what can sometimes take away their bliss. They think too much. I always say Virgos think too much, or they can be worrywurts. And so they think too much, and they're always in their thoughts and in their head. They don't ever just flow sometimes. And so that really, really takes away from their bliss, and it takes away from a lot of opportunities that a Virgo can get when they stick to the details too much. Now, on the good end of that, the details are amazing, and looking at the small stuff is fantastic. And on the good end of that, that makes them very responsible, and they look at things that other people aren't looking at. And so Virgo, I always say, is the sign that's going to live through the scary movie, because Virgos and Cancers, all right, they feel things, but also Virgos, like I say, they have to weigh everything out. They think before they move. And so I always say they're the ones who worry so much. So those are the signs that always have a plan Z, because they're always fearful a lot of times. They think too much. And so they always looking for exits. They always looking for a way out of everything. And, they're always panicky sometimes. So that's why I say they look too much into the details. They let things bother them a little too much. And it also pulls away from a Virgo's personality sometimes, because a Virgo sometimes can't even take a joke. With a Virgo, that's why I say they can be very literal, sometimes too literal. And so sometimes a Virgo, you tell them a joke or something like that, and all they do is pull out how that is not possible and how that's not true, and they can't even just laugh at stuff sometimes. So that's why I say with Virgos, hey, they will save you. You're going to live around them. Okay, but you might not always, your joke's not going to fly with them. And because, like I say, sometimes they deal too much into reality. So when a Virgo goes into 180 degrees of themselves, this is when they start to bring in their spirituality. This is when they start to have a little bit more faith in things. And so with Virgos, it's really dealing with the magic, and for them to actually see the magic in everything that happens in life. Because, like I say, they have a ruler. They have, a scale for everything. They got everything. They calculate everything. So that's why it's hard for you to get them to believe something. They have to be able to put it under the microscope. They look deeper into things all the time. And so when we're talking about your faith and you're talking about God or your higher power, a lot of times, if a Virgo can't touch it and a Virgo ain't never met them, it ain't real. Okay? And so that's why I say they're more of the scientist or the intellectual. They're not very trusting. And once they do, they do. But when they don't, they don't. And so we all have to learn all of that about our part of our chart, wherever you have Virgo in your chart. And that also deals with your relationship with Virgos. Wherever you have Virgo in your chart, this is your dealings with Virgos, whether they're in higher or lower self. And so that's why I say in lower self, a Virgo will criticize. And I mean, almost tear you down. And it's to the point where you have to almost question, why they're even saying it. And sometimes you have to even question, like how their mind and their processing what's happening. Because a Virgo will completely tear something down. They strip everything down to nothing when they're trying to find the truth in something. And so that's why I can feel like they're criticizing you. And sometimes they are. And that's why I say in lower self, it feels like, or it seems like they're giving you good advice. It seems like they're giving you or telling you something that seems like you need. But a lot of times, like I say, it's really not something good for you. It depends on where they at in their life. A Virgo, when they're on time in life, okay, when they on time, it's okay if you're late, all right? And that's why it goes back to them accommodating you, and it's okay. They're not going to say nothing if you're late. But when a Virgo is late, they're going to ask you why you late, because they don't like criticism, and so that's why they'll do that to somebody else to take away from something that they did. So that's why you have to measure yourself properly, and then you have to measure anytime you're dealing with a Virgo, especially people with Virgo aspects, specifically Venus and Virgo. Those are people who make really good money about precision and being smart and being really good about making things equal. I say Venus and Virgo a lot of times is, I would say like a doctor or a nurse or somebody like a barber, even maybe a tattoo artist. A lot of times those are people who have to be very detailed about what they're doing. Also, Venus and Virgo, if you have that makes you a very picky lover. That makes you pick apart every little thing about somebody. And that goes back to the lack of faith or the lack of acceptance towards someone or something. Because Pisces can pretty much accept any old thing. All right. And the Virgo aspect is, which is going against that or is opposing that, is telling you to look at things a little bit deeper. And so this is why Virgo and Pisces are at 180 degrees, because Pisces is dealing with your spiritual teacher. Pisces is dealing with acceptance, and Pisces is the last sign, and those last gates you got to get through where everything goes, and it's dealing with the law of gender. But on the other end of that, Virgo is dealing with being very specific about things. And Virgo is talking about, like I say, going the speed limit and paying attention to all of the signs so that you can get to your destination safely. Pisces just jumps in. And Pisces always takes the scenic route to everything, which is why they can be these very loving, beautiful people, but they can be easily misled. And Pisces, that goes back to, because they are opposed by the details, they definitely are not looking at details when it comes to life. So that's why a lot of times Pisces are on the receiving end of some bull, and that's why sometimes Pisces, when they become their abuser, that's all they do is give bull and lies and deceptions. So they can be easily fooled if they don't pay attention to things. So that's why I say pay attention to both ends of your chart when you're talking about Pisces and Virgo for the whole season, you guys. Also, Mercury is in Virgo. So this is the way you're thinking. This is the way you're collecting your information. This is the way you're learning. These are the people that you're talking to. Mercury in Virgo is going to really, with the sun being there, because the sun is your light. So the sun is saying, hey, pay attention to the details and pay attention to different things when you're dealing with people. All right. And then that Mercury is your pen and your paper telling you to write down things. That's why it's a time for you to learn and collect information. Mercury, I always say, is also like your phone. So a lot of your conversations, going to be more detailed. You're going to get more information. It's going to be more so when you're talking to people or answering the phone, more so towards your responsibilities, more so towards work. This is talking about customer service and how you handle other people. This is a really good time. Anybody who owns a business or does a service or I would say have products or anything like that. Even if you're not a Virgo, this is a time to pay attention to the way you give service and the way you receive service. And a lot of times the universe is always going to talk to you. And the universe talks to you through other people. So if you want to know that you give good service, is what I tell my clients is when you go out and get a service from somebody. And if their service isn't good, sometimes that is your best mirror and your best reflection, because the universe is always watching you and you are always watching you. And so your dealings with people when you go out in public, when you someone's serving you your food or anything like that, whether they have attitude, whether it was great service or all of that, whatever you do for a living, especially if you give a service, a lot of times the universe is going to be your mirror. So when you go somewhere and somebody's giving you bad service, this is how you measure yourself and see how good you're doing at work. The universe ain't making mistakes about who you deal with and what kind of experiences you have. And so if you don't think that you give a good service, or if you think you do, or however, or you think you're doing well in business, measure yourself about when you get a service from someone. And a lot of times sucky service is just an energy thing. And you only get what you give. And so this is how you get to be honest with yourself about where you stand at with your clients. And I do that all the time. When I get my nails done, when I get my feet done, anything like that, I always pay attention to that. I want to know how well I am with my clients, because you get what you give and Virgo will serve it back to you. And so when you want to know where you are with anybody, you measure yourself through the universe. The universe talks to you through what? Planets. All right, and other people. And so this is how you get your experiences and collect them, and you start to realize your dealings with different signs. When you realize, okay, when I'm around Virgos, this happens. Or when I'm around Scorpios, this happens. Or when I'm around whatever sign, you start to realize what they're bringing into your life. You start to realize, and that's why some people like certain signs or you don't. But this is definitely dealing with paying attention. I always say Virgo is like your spiritual glasses. It helps you to see more clear when there are illusions or things that are very foggy to you when you're talking about the Pisces part of your chart, when really you're talking about any part of your chart. But Virgo is going to help you locate wherever there is pain or discomfort, and Virgo is there to save it and make sure you're good. All right? So peace and love to the Virgos, because it's other aspects that's happening because we have retrograding planets. And so that can really throw off a lot other people have going on, depending on where your planets are retrograding at in your life and what that means for you. So Uranus retrograding right now is in Taurus, and that's like at 10 degrees right now. And so if Uranus is retrograding at 10 degrees Taurus, you have to think about what that's doing to your Virgo season. Changes to your money, and we're all going back to get something when it comes to that Uranus retrograde. There's some type of change we're all looking for. There's some type of risk we all could have taken or will be taking. And so this is why I'm saying make sure you're secure with any jumps that you're talking about taking, or any risks or any gambles that you're trying to make for a while. And so while Uranus is retrograding, secure yourself, because Taurus is the security of it all. And so that's why I'm saying there are changes to everybody's security. It's also dealing with your breathing. It's also talking about your respiratory system. And so with Uranus being, like I always say, like the dice, you don't know what's going to happen or what it's going to land on when it comes to our security, our money, our finances, and all of that for a while. This is why we got to step up on our security. So, pay attention to your money. Pay attention to your protection. Guns, all of those things. Like, you want to pay attention to that. With Uranus retrograding, like I say, what that does to Virgo, it affects your rhythm. All right? If Virgo is your regular rhythm, Uranus comes in, and I would call that's when the beat drop. Okay? That's the remix. So this is why Uranus ruling Aquarius, this is why they represent the changes or the unpredictable things that take place, or the remix in our life, because they're the creators and they're the inventors and they're the ones who are going to make everything completely transform for us. And so while the universe is doing what it's doing, you get what I'm saying? It's like a rick. Okay, because Pluto is also retrograding, and so is Saturn, and so is Jupiter. So it's some retrogrades happening up in here, you guys. And we're all going back to get something. And there's all something for us all to go back and collect. Jupiter is there's your growth to go back and get. There's opportunities to go back and get. So this is why we're pausing right now with all of these signs. It's telling you this is a spiritual pause freeze, hold up, wait a second. There's some things we need to see. There are some people you need to meet. There's some unfinished business we need to tend to before you can go outside and play in life. And so this is why the universe always gives you a pause and stops the music for the retrograde of your life. And so that's why I say the retrogrades are also an awesome time to, like I say, fast, do a cleanse, all of those things, ridding yourself of everything and every type of distraction so that you can just be in there with you, so you can know what God really sounds like, so you can know what God really feels like. No outside influences, no smoking, no any of those things. Like, everybody should do it. I always say at least once a month, just to know what God is really saying to you. You know, and so you want to really have that relationship with the divine that is not influenced by anything else all the time. And a lot of us don't do that. So we've never met ourselves. Peace and love, Craig. Peace and love, Donnell. I'm sorry, y'all. I always do that. I be talking, and then I start speaking all late. I'm sorry, y'all. Donnell, peace and love. Tempura, peace and love. Matt, Jim, Ty, Azorda. Oh, thank you. Peace and love. Lauren, Prabha, Kwame, say no more. That Leo be on it, honey. But anyway, yeah, and it's coming out of Leo season, you guys. Leo season, there was a bunch of changes and the chaos that a lot of us had to make some adjustments to. So those are the separations and the breakups and the firing, and I told a lot of y'all that was going to happen. Okay, and so now that we coming out of Leo season, this is why we're changing the tune now. Okay, so now we're looking down because Leo season was telling us to look out. Fire signs always tell us to look out, and that's why the fire signs are the most aggressive. Aries, you got your Sagittarius, and you got your Leo. So the fire signs are always saying, look out. The fire signs are going to protect us, y'all. So think about us all being in like a field trip of life. All the signs have a job for us to all survive. All the signs have a job for the music to play a little bit louder for us to have fun. So that's why you have to respect every sign, because even when you meet a sign in its lower self, they're bringing something into your life. It was something you needed to know. It was something you needed to see. And it still is never anything other than yourself. You're learning about yourself. You need a Scorpio to get under your skin. You needed to know your boundaries. You need a Capricorn to push you. You know, you need to know if you're lazy or not. You need a Leo to be loud on you. You know, you need to know if you're inspired enough or not. You need all these things. You need every sign. You need a Gemini to talk to you and teach you something. So you'll know if you're looking both ways in conversation and learning and having a polarity of thoughts. All of the signs are giving us something. And so, like I say, the fire signs was telling us to look out. So Leo was telling us to look out all last month and express ourselves and be powerful and all of those awesome things, right? Now that we've collected our party, and some of us are adjusting from the changes that took place and things that affected our faith, because Leo was talking about that faith we had and that confidence and just really being powerful, right? Now Virgo is saying, now look down. Now look down, because it goes back to your responsibilities. Virgos pays the bills. So that's why I say they're the responsible one. They're the innocent one. They're the virgin. They don't get in no trouble. They don't want no smoke. Okay? But and they also trines where you have Capricorn. But remember, like I said, you have planets retrograding in Capricorn. So you have Virgo's paying the bills, Capricorn's making the investments, and Taurus is holding the money. All right, so all the earth signs are doing something at the same time, but you have to think about wherever you, whatever house you have Capricorn in, and where those signs are, those planets are retrograding at. Because for one, you're pausing, right? But for two, there is something to go back and collect. So that's what I'm saying. Think about how all of these things aspect each other when you're talking about doing different things. All right, if Uranus is in Taurus right now, those are your risks. And those are the chances that you can take. And that's on pause. Now you also have to think about, like I say, where Capricorn is. You have Jupiter and you have Saturn retrograding there as well. So they're on pause. So there's a lot of work to do. Because when a planet is retrograding, all you're left with is the sign that you have to do the work, that it's been telling you to do the work for. And so if Jupiter is in Capricorn and Saturn is in Capricorn, this is why we're going to do what Capricorn told us to do. Okay? And so Capricorn tells us to make sure we have integrity and make sure we do the work and make sure we invest properly. So this goes back to work. This goes back to business and a lot of people who are looking for mates right now. Because of the way that the world is and because of everything that's taking place, this is a time to find a mate or make sure you have proper backup or make sure you have, I always call Libra your spare tire. You want to make sure you got a spare tire in this trip in life. So this is why people get married. This is why we have business partners. This is why we have partnerships, contacts, and contracts, which is Libra. And before we get into Libra season, so I'm bringing up all the signs because all the signs are seasons for a reason. And it's different behaviors that you're going to take on for different reasons throughout the year. With that Capricorn, you guys, especially with Jupiter there, if you have it in like the 7th house, if you have it somewhere like the 4th house, somewhere like the 10th house, this is some investments you're looking for. You're looking for that partner you can invest in. You have to think about, Capricorn is talking about your cipher. So a cipher is a circle, and a circle is integrity, and integrity is a circle that is not easily broken, right? So this is why Capricorn deals with your level of integrity and how much work you put in and how well you're going to do, okay? And so a circle that's not easily broken, this is your team. These are people you're going to make it with and you're going to win with. This is also your spouse, your husband or your wife, your ring. This is why it's integrity. It's a circle. You can't break it. Okay? And so it has a lot to do with that. And this is why we're all looking for support in different areas of our life. All right? And so we have Jupiter and Capricorn on the other end of that. In the shadows, you have Cancer. You got to have support in everything that you're doing in order to do well. And so with Jupiter and Capricorn, you guys, we're climbing the mountain, right? Because Capricorn represents the mountain of our life of where we're all trying to do well at, okay? And which is why it's the goal. So as we're all in Capricorn mode trying to do well, and there's a pause on what we're doing. And it's telling you to make sure that you're stable at the bottom of the mountain before you get to the top. You got to make sure somebody's holding those ropes. You got to make sure that you have water for that goat. And this is what makes it a perfect line when you go across at 180 degrees from your stability to your success with Capricorn and Cancer, you guys. Cancer is the water. Okay, Cancer is the water and the nourishment and the nurturing. Capricorn is the goat. Capricorn is the tough one. Capricorn needs Cancer more than ever because you need to be relatable. You have to have friends. You got to have family, and you have to be like family in order to do well. When you have clients and customers and all of that, that's your second family. Why? Because they feeding your family. Okay, and you have to be good to those people. All right, and a lot of people don't think about that, especially us, when we talking about business and customer service, which is why a lot of us get a lot of bad reviews or flack and all of that. And that goes back to having a degree in family. If you don't have a degree in family, you're not going to do well in life because you have to know how to relate and do well with other people. And you have to know how to keep your word. And I say that all the time because a lot of us as a people, I'm just going to do that as a whole nother video. A lot of us as a people do not have a degree in family, and we don't know how to keep our word or have somebody else's back or be supportive to other people. And because a lot of us have never received that from our own family. And so you have a lot of businesses closing, and you have a lot of people who don't have proper support. And that's because that goes back to their training in family. And then you have a lot of people who go in business together, relationships ending, friendships ending, marriages ending. And that goes back to your contracts. And so you have to have a good contract with God. You have to have a good contract with yourself before you can make a contract with anybody else. And a lot of people who don't keep their word to themselves, it's hard for them to keep their word to anybody. So that goes back to the Capricorn part of your chart, which is trying to your Virgo. Capricorn is saying put in the work. Capricorn is saying make sure there's integrity. And Virgo is talking about your responsibilities. And so that's why Capricorn is talking about long term. All right, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. That's a every 29 years type of thing. And it moves every 2.5 years through a sign. All right, so what you're doing now affects the next 29 years of your life, which is why I'm saying take everything you're doing serious. Everybody you're around serious. Everybody that's going to be in your life, they need to be a part of your cipher. So that's why I'm saying this is a time where a lot of people are choosing partners and spouses. However, a lot of people are taking their career very serious because everything you do now is marking your spot in life, for the next 29 years. You want to really make sure that you're making the proper strides and have the right people in your circle. And Saturn is the belt. So wherever you messing up at, you're going to feel that belt. And right now while we're retrograding, a lot of people are feeling that belt. So you have to pay attention to that because Saturn will light your ass up. Okay? And so that's why that Saturn return is so messed up for some people. And some people don't even live to make it, to see it. All right? And that's between 28 and 31. So a lot of people is getting their ass lit up right now by Saturn because that's going back to your cycles and not knowing yourself. And these are things you need to learn anyway. It's going to happen. Everybody gets their butt whipped at 29. Okay? And this is why, because you're easing into 30. So even when you break down to the numerology and the numbers and everything, your age is everything. Your age is everything. Your path for your age, every year that you turn, that's a journey. And we don't pay attention to that. Some people they just, oh, my birthday is another year. That's your birthday is your own personal holiday. Your birthday, you can't get that back. You should celebrate your birthday. All right, you are a celebrity, you are very special, and you are a superstar, and we need to honor ourselves like so. When you took your first breath in that space, into that time, and that location, nobody else has that but you. Nobody. No twins. Nobody shares the same space. Nobody shares the time that they took their first breath. That is yours. And so honor that. You get what I mean? At that longitude, at that latitude, nobody was in that space at that day, at that time, in that location. Nobody was. That's yours. And that's why everybody's chart is different, even twins. They were born in the same location. They was born on the same day. They were not born at the same time. And so that's why things are different for everybody. Your path is completely different. So honor yourself on your birthday. And now that's why I love to do, I like to go through the signs every month because every sign needs that acknowledgement and you want to respect every sign. And that goes back to because you are always in court. All right. And you got 12 jurors, 12 of your peers who are always judging you. And you want to make sure that they all give you grace. So that's why when you go through every sign for that 30 days or that 30 degrees of that sign, that you do what it tells you to do. Especially when that planet retrogrades, you want to respect it and honor what it tells you to do so you can get the kickback of everything when that planet goes back direct. And a lot of people, that's why they're saying when you're not aligned, your retrograde is going to suck. When you're not aligned, your retrograde is going to light your ass up. But when you are aligned, your retrograde is the best thing that ever happened to you because you know that it's a lot of stuff you got to get under your bed and it's a lot of stuff you haven't seen in a while and a lot of people you haven't talked to in a while. And there are a lot of opportunities that you're about to go back and collect. And so a lot of times a retrograde, when people say, it's so funny when people say that, some situations or some moments in life you'll never get to replay again or you'll never get it back. But the retrograde promises you can get things back. And this is why we rewind. So when they say you can't have moments back or all of that, no, a retrograde is literally a rewind in your life. We're going to replay this again and we're going to see if your answer is the same. And so that's why situations come up the same or you'll run across people the same situation. It might not be the same people. It might be the same situation, the same energy. The universe just wants to know, have you grown up yet, and are you done, and are you gonna pass the test this time? And if so, you gonna pass. So this is why we graduate, and this is why we elevate, and this is why we can be at different ages, and somebody can know more than somebody else, because your ass didn't graduate. So you got 50 and 60-year-old people who in kindergarten in life, okay? And you got 20 and 30-year-old people who about to graduate. Okay? And because it goes back to your maturity level and it just goes back to how you gain and retain information. Has nothing to do with your age. Are you willing to learn? And do you want to know yourself? And do you want to live today? That's it. Okay? And so, peace and love, Jane. Peace and love, you guys. Peace and love, Shondell. That's really it. You know what I mean? A retrograde is nothing scary unless you don't have control over yourself. If you don't have control over yourself and you don't learn from your mistakes, and it's not even mistakes, if you just don't learn from things that have happened and know how to clean up properly, yeah, it's going to hurt and it's going to suck. And every time you hear about a planet retrograding, it's going to be the worst time ever for you. But it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? So that's why I say know your power, know yourself, know your chart, and you'll know when you're in alignment. You can feel it. You can literally feel it. And people who are in alignment know what I'm talking about. All right. So what I'm going to do, this is a Scorpio moon today. The last time I checked, it was like 16 degrees Scorpio. So it might be probably further along by now. So think about, this is how you check your alignment, you guys. If it's a Scorpio moon today, but the sun is in Virgo, and that's why I say they're 60 degrees away from each other, so they work very well together. Only difference is, like I say, Scorpio just got more intent behind the things that they're looking for. So, you know, a Virgo is just be like, hey, girl, ooh, you got something in your teeth. But they're just saying it because they just want to let you know. A Scorpio gonna let you know, and they're gonna tell you in front of everybody, and they got intent, and they trying to embarrass your ass. Like, it's just a difference when a Scorpio uses their eyes than when a Virgo uses their eyes. Scorpio looking all the way up under things. And so with that Scorpio moon today, is telling you to look up under things and be very thorough with your thoughts, be thorough with your words, be thorough, very thorough with your eyes. But it's more than anything, it's telling you to look in. All right. And so there might have been some secrets or dark things that people may have been experiencing the past couple of days with that Virgo moon. That Scorpio moon. And it was telling you, hey, cut the lights on in your life, you know, and it's telling you to use your magnifying glass in life and really look at things and magnify things and look at them a little bit quicker and deeper. And right now, Scorpio was telling you to do those things for the past couple of days. And it's whatever happened over the weekend for some of you guys, if you know what I'm talking about. Wherever there are some secrets, or if you have a secret, or if there's some type of something going on, be mindful of all of your things. And Scorpio is also talking about theft. So, you know, hey, some people were sensitive to theft the past couple of days. Somebody might have been taking your stuff, you know, and it's not always physical things. Scorpio will, they can steal mental things. They can take energy, you know, so it's not just that. And I'm not talking negative about Scorpio. What I'm saying is, this is how you know if you're in alignment. In higher self, Scorpio is healing you. It's healing you. So I say Scorpio is always either healing you or killing you. They putting you back together again, or they're the reason why you in pain in the first place when you're talking about a Scorpio. And so to know if you're in alignment, now we got to go back to what? You got to go back to Taurus, because that opposes Scorpio. And so this is how I strengthen my charts with my clients. I take the weakest part of them and I make that, they're going to work on that. And we don't talk about your strengths. We only talk about your weaknesses till we don't have weaknesses. So I take their the weakest part of their chart, and we gonna up it. And I talk it up, and I sell it back to them, and I sell them themselves. And I say, hey, this is how strong you are, and this is how powerful you are in this area. And they be like, yeah, and you're gonna win today, and you're gonna live today. And they do. And so this is the same thing I have to do to my children. The worst part of them, or the part that they don't operate the strongest in, oh, that's your favorite part today. And so this is how people learn themselves, and you make people push past their barriers. If you didn't feel like a king or a queen today, that's probably why things were disturbing you today. All right. If you didn't know your value, if you didn't have the time, the money, or the energy today, that Scorpio moon tore your ass up today. Okay. And yesterday. All right. And Scorpio moon, where it doesn't matter what your sun sign is, the Scorpio moon is already a detrimental place for the moon to be. So people were either dealing with death today, people were dealing with renovations today, people were deeply changing things today, and like I said, people were either fixing something or tearing something up today. And it's why the intent was we're searching for something. And that goes back to, if I feel valuable, then I'm not going to run into any damages. If I have on my seatbelt, I'm not going to run into any damages. And if I do have on my seatbelt, I know how to get around it. And if I do inflict any type of damages or pain, right, anything that hurts me, guess what? I know how to go to the salvage yard, which is also Scorpio. That's why I say Scorpio will either tear you down or put you back together. It either has parts for you when you fall apart, or like I say, they're the reason why you need a new part, depending on what type of Scorpio you're coming across. And that goes back to your Virgo season, you guys. And so that's why I say your sun and your moon, that's your mother and your father. Honor your mother and your father, and your days will be long. That's the 5th commandment. All right. And that also goes back to the sun and the moon. All right. So that's why the sun is your father. You always have faith, because he has a different shift from your mother. Your mother's shift is, the moon is at night. All right. Your father's shift is during the day. So this is why we, like I say, you're more intuitive at night. When mama's on her shift, you're more in tune with mama. When daddy's on his shift, you're more in tune with daddy. And daddy gives you light to see, right? And so that's why they always say joy comes in the morning. But the morning is Venus. Venus has to take her parade before it's the sun. So we have to know how the planets are moving, so we know why we feel a certain way. All right. And so you're always talking about the sun, the moon, and you're always talking about Venus. And Venus is that space right in between. So I always say Venus is that dawn, that right in between the evening or the night and the morning, or before the sun comes. And so that's why we say Venus is the original light. And so this is why we put a lot of time and effort into Venus as well, which is also your partnerships and your money, which is Taurus and Libra. So this is why we honor every sign a certain way. going back to Virgo season though, you guys. With that Scorpio, right? If you didn't feel your values, if you didn't have your crown on, this is why some people felt deep, dark, or in a dark place, or in a dark, wet place, or they were in a dark hole today. And this is where that detrimental space can come from dealing with Scorpio. Scorpio is dealing with disturbances and damages and all of that. And on its higher self is talking about mending things, putting things back together. And this is also talking about some really good sex, okay? And regenerating and rebuilding something together. So that's why I say if we are all having some good moments the next couple of days or some yesterday up until today, then Scorpio is very good to you, okay? But if you've lost something, someone, all right, or if you feel like you're empty or you lost something, all right, if your stomach has dropped, which is the moon is dealing with your stomach and it has dropped in Scorpio, you're upset about something. And that goes back to think about something from the past week or so. That affects why you're feeling this way now. This is why you follow the sun and the moon, to understand why do I feel like this. And that's why you follow all of the planets, to be honest. Why do I feel like this? Or why is this happening with my money? Or why is this part of my life feeling good right now? And this part of my life is a little bit shitty. This is why we figure this out. All right. And that's why your love life might suck at one moment, but you might be making some money. However, this is what happens. So you want to stay in line with everything. And that goes back to your chakras and your body systems. You want to make sure you're healthy for the things that you're preparing yourself for. And so your health is your wealth. It's never the money. It's always your body. It's always your body. It's never the money. And that goes back to, that's why Virgo pays the bills. Virgo pays the bills in life. All right. Virgo pays the bills in life, and Virgo pays the bills to your body. And this is why Virgo distributes the energy and your water and your food and everything that you take into your body. Virgo distributes that evenly through your body. You understand? And so that's why I say you have to honor every sign, because they're doing something fantastic for you. Last month, Leo was dealing with our heart and our blood and all of that in our cardiovascular system. And it's also dealing with our solar plexus chakra. And so that's why last month, dealing with Leo season, it was saying get excited about something, but also watch how excited you get about something, because it was talking about the strain in your face and your body and how dramatic Leo can be at lower self when that lion is being ferocious when it's been tested. So that's why there were a lot of tempers and feelings being hurt and all of that in Leo season. So that's why we were looking out. We were looking out in defense of ourselves. We were also looking out for opportunities and fun. We were also looking out for changes in Leo season. And that's why I say now we're looking down. Okay, let's see what we have as far as what Virgo is talking about. That's why I say it's paying the bills. And this is mentally, physically, and spiritually. And then you also have to think about Virgo is also your credit score in life. So Virgo, that's why I say it's paying the bills. What have you done for me lately? And that goes back to this when we look in your account of life, you guys. Your account of life, what have you done for someone? So this is why when you go to court and when you go to different situations in life and you go to certain court dealings, right, and you got away with something you ain't think you was going to get away with, or things got dismissed or however, it goes back to your credit score in life, because you be looking out and you do things for other people. This is why you get that unexpected bliss, or you be like, wow, I thought I was in trouble. I thought it was going to be worse than this, and it wasn't, right? But if your accounting isn't good in life, what you do for other people and how you serve, which is Virgo, this is why it's your credit score. This is why you'll go into situations like court, or you get pulled over and something unfair happens, or something where it wasn't that serious, and this is what you're getting, right? But that's why I say Virgo is your speed limit, right? Guess who's pulling your ass over? Saturn, okay? Saturn is what's pulling you over in life. And that's why it's a restriction and limitation to what you're doing if you don't honor yourself and if you don't honor other people and you don't do it with a good heart. So if Virgo is your credit score, Sagittarius is the credit card. That's why Jupiter is the credit card. But that's why they challenge each other. If I don't pay attention to the details and I don't pay my bills on time, it challenges my growth in life. You're not going as far as you thought you were going to go when you're not good to other people, when you don't keep your word, when you're not reliable, when you're not dependable. Yeah, though. So that's part of paying your bills. It's not just paying your light bill. Paying your bills and paying your dues is to other people and to the world. Okay. And that's why it's the house of service when you're dealing with Virgo. And this is why these are the best people you want to be around. And that's why I say these are people that's going to live in a scary movie. Why? Because they overthink everything. They already thought about the worst case scenario. You're going to live today when you're around a Virgo. You're going to live. Trust me. You're going to live. You in good hands. And, you know, they might worry everything down. You like, oh, man, they just own me, they own me. But at the end of the day, you're going to live because they worried so much that as soon as something happens, they going to move fast. And they already got a plan. And so that's why I say, you know, warriors are sometimes, that's why I say the safest place you want to be is around a warrior. They worry a lot. Your ass gonna be safe around them, okay? They ain't gonna let nothing happen to you. And like I said, they've already thought about the worst thing that can happen, and they already thought about how to get out of the worst thing that could happen. So that's a safe place to be. And that's why I say giving Virgos a level of compassion and showing them something different is good. Yeah, they gonna criticize it. Yeah, they gonna have their dictionary. Yeah, they gonna Google what the hell you talking about. They are. They don't trust anything. They don't trust anybody. Okay? At the end of the day, though, when they do start to trust, that's a safe place to be. And I would definitely tell you that about Virgos. And I used to didn't like Virgos because I'm a Gemini. And Geminis and Virgos challenge each other. And I did not like details as much as a Virgo do. And every time I was around a Virgo, they got under my skin because I'm in creative mode all the time. Geminis like to make their own shit up. Geminis don't deal with rules, all right? Geminis don't even always deal with contracts. Geminis like to be free. They don't like restrictions, and they both are ruled by Mercury. But Gemini is more free with it, right? They're more creative. Virgo goes by the rule book. Virgo opens the instructions and goes by each instruction. They said do this. They said do that. Gemini don't like the instructions. Gemini like, let's just do it the way we want to do it. Let's just, what does spirit tell us? You know, Gemini just like, let's just do it. I just thought of a way we could do it. I don't care about the instructions. So that's why I used to be really challenged by Virgos a lot. They go by the rules, the regulations. The rules say this, and that's why I say they the hall monitor. Hey, you going too fast, Gemini. They just always, wait a minute, Gemini. And I'll be like, and so my son's father was Virgo, and that's why we all the time just disagreeing about the way we should do things because he was more so like by the book, and I was like, fuck that book. And so most definitely you want to pay attention to that though with Virgos. And so that's why I say a lot of times think about your doctor, think about, you know, somebody who's giving you good advice and they don't mean you any harm. A lot of times that's what a Virgo's doing, even when it's getting on your last nerve, and even when they bugging you, and even when it's something that's not that deep, it's that deep to them. You know, I have strong Virgo in my chart. I remember when I was in school, and you know the teachers used to like erase stuff off the board, and some pieces used to be left over. They erase everything. Like that's that Virgo part of me. It did bother me a lot. I'd be like, hey, can you erase all the rest of that? That just bothers me that you got some left on the board. Like everything has to be even for me and all of that. And that's why I say when you start to realize you are every sign, and hey, I do some of that stuff too, you really, really respect all the signs and you appreciate what they bring into your life. And so all is well. And it doesn't take away from the Scorpio either. The Scorpio just helps you look a little bit deeper. Virgo is more so like, you know, I got a hunch. Let me look at this. Scorpio is like, I've been had a hunch. I done found it. Like they don't play. Scorpio is your detective. And so I always say they work well together. That's a cute little duo. Virgos and Scorpios. But I always say the Virgo is a little bit more innocent than the Scorpio. The Scorpio is older than the Virgo. The Virgo is the 6-year-old child. The Virgo is 6. The Virgo is good. The Virgo likes brushing their teeth and still showing their mom their pictures and like, look, mom, because Virgos still love validation. And that goes back to why they break everybody else down and they get down on everybody else. The reason why they're judging everybody else because they're worried about somebody judging them. And so they so good at judging other people and talking about what somebody else is doing. But the last thing they want is somebody to look at them and do the same thing to them. So that's why I say that can be in lower self sometimes with Virgos. When they just judging a little bit too much, it's just like not that deep what they're doing. That goes back to it's something that they're hiding about themselves. It's just simply projection. And we all do it in different ways. And so Virgos will be your biggest projector. And that's why they'll look at the smallest little detail and make it something big. But they really just making sure ain't nobody looking at them and nobody can see them. So they bring attention to other things sometimes to not bring attention to themselves. So you got to pay attention to that. But they work well with Scorpio because Scorpio is the older one. Scorpio is the 8-year-old. Scorpio, you know, got a little money. You know, Scorpio is the one that done got in trouble a few times already. So that's why Scorpio, they'll work with Virgo a little bit, but you don't want it to taint Virgo's image. And I'm not saying Scorpio is bad. I'm saying Scorpio ain't always good. Scorpio, in higher self is probably, Scorpio, don't get me wrong, Scorpio to me is probably the most powerful sign of the zodiac. Okay, it's probably the most powerful because they know how to come back from the dead. Okay, they know how to fix stuff up and they know how to bring things back that you never thought you'd see again. They really know how to cause great renovations and like really rebuild something from nothing. Scorpios are probably one of the most resourceful signs ever. And I tease at Scorpios a lot because they're the worst sign in their lower self. So they're the best sign to me. And I'm a Gemini. They're the best, most powerful sign in their highest self. But a Scorpio ain't shit in their lower self. And that's probably Scorpios and Pisces are the worst signs you want to be around when they're not honoring self. Okay? Because those are the ones that can drown you and pull you down. Distract you the most and you might not live. Okay? Dealing with a Scorpio. And you definitely want to pay attention to that part of your chart because Pluto is retrograding. And that's the ruler of Scorpio. Even though it's retrograding in Capricorn, pay attention to your Scorpio part of your chart. Okay? Because that is the ruler of it. So that has a whole lot to do with when things like, for example, the moon being in Scorpio, you got to pay attention to your dealings with your Pluto in Capricorn. Okay? And that's men, and that's dealing with work and authority figures, your parents, people that are a part of your cipher, people that are a part of your support system. Yeah, you want to pay attention to that. You said Pisces, please. Yeah. Oh, Pisces are horrible at lower self. Ugh, disgusting. They're terrible at lower self. They're the biggest liars you ever meet in your life. Pisces, you don't even know their name. Everything about them is a lie. In lower self. Pisces are terrible in their lower self. And I'm being honest. Because it's the last sign, so that's why I say it's the most major part of your ascension. But that's the worst part that you do not want to... Listen. Pisces tests your faith. Okay? Pisces deals with your trust in your faith, which just goes back to the last sign. So that's why it's dealing with your spirituality. That's that last little gate you got to get through. And the higher you go, I mean... You know what I mean? It's a good thing, but the lower you go, I say this. You got to have discernment dealing with Pisces, okay? And that's why I say because they're beautiful truths and beautiful lies. And so that's why I say a lot of actors and all of that, people in Hollywood, all of those people fall into Pisces aspects and dealing with Neptune energy and all of that. Fantasy, things that are not real. And it's just a very fine line between what's real and what's not. And so that's why Pisces will lie to the point where they believe their own lie. And you believe them too. That's why they deal with deceptions, distractions, and just things that are just like, you don't know. Just like cartoons. You just can't tell. You like that with a Pisces. For real. And so and that's why I say they can be a beautiful, truthful sign. They can pretty much really be changing your life and be something awesome into your life. But you got to squint with a Pisces. Like, is this real? Is real? A Pisces will lie about everything. They'll say they don't have kids and they got kids. Yeah, they'll do all kinds. They'll be a whole married. You know, Pisces, that's why they're the magician. They're the magician of the zodiac, or they're the actor of the zodiac. I mean, they're the best actor of the zodiac. You can't even tell what was real and what wasn't with a Pisces. So that's where the fantasy and all that comes from, you know, and escapism. Because once you realize that things are not real with Pisces, or once your those rose-colored glasses are taken off, this is where the escapism, drugs, smoking, drinking, and all of that come from. Also, a lot of times when Pisces don't have structure to their magic, that's where all the behaviors and people... in mental institutions and all of that is Pisces. Isolation, having to get help, getting therapeutic services. All of that are magicians, or I would say very spiritual, magical people who didn't have structure to their magic, so they sound crazy. They look crazy, you know, their own pills, their own medicine, all of that. That doesn't take away from their magic. It's just saying that they didn't have structure enough, that the rest of the world couldn't hear their story good enough to not think their ass didn't need to be locked up. And those are actually some of the most beautiful people you're going to meet. And that's why I say they're some of the most dizzy people you're going to meet. They're the most dizzy people, but they're the most beautiful people. And that's why I say you want to love on a Pisces, you know what I mean? And you want to give them the information that they need when you see them in lower self. But a lot of times Pisces, if they're not your pastor, or if they're not a very spiritual person, that's why I say in lower self, they're going to be a crackhead. They're going to be a drunk. They're going to be the person on the side of the road asking for change. They still spiritual. They still got wisdom. They still magical. They just didn't have structure. That's why I say, or they got easily distracted. All right. And so that's what takes away from Pisces magic. All right. And that's why a lot of times Pisces has that dependency energy, for whatever, for a person, for whether it's an addiction or anything. They just have a very dependency type of energy. They just dependent on people, places, and things when they're in lower self. But in higher self, a Pisces is who you can depend on. Okay? And so, all is well. But in lower self, they can be the biggest liars, and they can be the most confusing people. And that's why I say they can believe their own lies. Like, there's somebody that will fight you. Them people, how people get so worked up, but they still lying, but they get so caught up in they lie, they be like to fight you. Like, that is a Pisces. They be about to fight you and they forget they was lying. Like, nigga, it's over. Like, they still be pushing for the lie, and you done gave them all the evidence, and they'll still be like, They still in character. So that's why I say pay attention to a Pisces. They are actors. Sometimes they so much in character, they forget they forgot their own lie. And so, all is well. But they're beautiful people, and like I say, those are people that can really change your life, because that is the last sign, and they deal with your spiritual ascension. So that's why I say if you come across a Pisces and higher self, stick around. Stick around. Your life will change. Your life will change. And if you find one of lower selves, run, because they're going to ask for change. Okay? So, all is well. All is well. But yeah, if you know your magic, you guys, if you have trust and you have faith, my stars, you're going to get through this whole month. It's going to be so amazing for you. You're going to see the other end of it. You're going to get the celebration of people loving on you, people celebrating you for the services that you give, and you celebrating others for the services that you receive. So that's why I say, what's your credit score? Check your spiritual credit score. What have you done for me lately? And what have you done for thee lately? All right? And at 150 degrees away from Aries, this is why Virgo can cause disharmony with Aries, okay? Aries moves fast, and Aries is the head, right? So Aries is the eyes. But Virgo is looking down, all right? Excuse me. And Virgo is looking down, but Virgo is moving slower, okay? And they have more of a rhythm about what they're doing. Aries don't have no rhythm. Aries started the beat. They're the first sign. They start the beat. They have disharmony with each other, though, because what you see, what you take in, and what you eat can cause disharmony to your what? Your intestines. So your head, your eyes, and all that can cause disharmony to your body. That's why I say pay attention to what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're eating. All right? If you have issues with your teeth or anything like that, this is a good time for everybody to go to the doctor and get an examination for whatever. And that goes back to Pisces represents the hidden things. So you go to Virgo, which is the reality. You go to a doctor, somebody that's going to show you the reality of things that are happening, because the hidden things could be hidden sickness, hidden illness, things you don't even know you have. Some people might have COVID and don't even know it. All kinds of things. And that's why Pisces deals with the hidden things that's going on in your life. And Pisces also deals with your what? Your lymphatic system and your immune system. So that's why I say you might have something you don't even realize. You might have health elements you may not even realize. And especially with all that COVID and everything going on, you guys. And that's why I say Virgo is saying analyze it. Look at the details of your body. Pay attention to what's in your colon. Pay attention to what's in your stomach. And that's why I say everybody should do a cleanse or some type of dieting or something. Just have at least 1 or 2 days. I prefer 3, because 3 is a very powerful number, and it's a number of understanding, and it brings clarity. But at least 3 days of nothing in your body. Nobody in there but you and the spirit. Nobody in there but you and the breath. And you want to start fresh and new anyway. And you want to give God the best of the best when you are eating and what you have in your body. You want to have the best organs for your spirit. You want to have the best, lungs for your spirit. You want to have the best heart. Everything working right for your spirit. You want God to have luxury. And so this is why we want to take care of our bodies. And this is why our health is so important. God wants the best of the best. And so this is why when we retire or die or however, sometimes sooner than others, some people, why? Because you ain't giving me a good stay here. That's why. When we don't take care of ourselves and you're not giving spirit a good stay in your body, and you're not treating it like it's some place that a king or a queen or your highest power is, yeah, we're going to retire. We don't want to be here anymore. And so you got to pay attention to that when your health changes. You got to pay attention to your chakras. Virgo is your root chakra and your solar plexus chakra. All right. So at your root chakra, Virgo brings you what you need, and that's why I say it helps pay your bills. It helps bring you food. It make sure you have your clothes. Virgo makes sure you're also taking care of other people. All right. But at your solar plexus chakra, it's talking about your desires. I like doing this for other people. I don't just have to do it. Virgo is when you want to do it, and that's why it's a part of your spiritual credit score. Do you want to do this? Is it in your heart to do this? And I actually had I don't know if he's still on here. I ain't going to tell his business. But I had a reading today with a client. We had a session earlier, and that was the thing he was asking me about, something that he wanted to do for somebody else or that they asked him to do. And he asked me, well, it's something that they asked me. Somebody asked him to do a favor, and he's like, well, I don't know if I should do it. I really don't know if I'm going to be able to. I have other things going on this weekend. And he said, am I wrong for feeling like that? Am I wrong for wanting to say no? And this is what I want everybody to know. Anytime anybody asks you to do anything, you're not wrong for saying no. You're not wrong for saying no. You're not wrong for feeling like it's in the way of something else you got to do. You're wrong when you tell somebody yes, all right, and your spirit said no. You're wrong when your energy is not feeling what you're doing. And you're wrong because you're disrespecting the person that you're doing it for, as if they can't feed or read. As if they can't read their energy, that your heart is not there. So you're wrong when you do things knowing you didn't really want to do it. You're not wrong for not telling something. You're not wrong for telling people no. You're not wrong for letting somebody down. You're not wrong for honoring yourself. You're not wrong for being in the master bedroom of your life and deciding, I want to put me first. You wrong for telling somebody and going in the house of God and telling somebody you're going to accommodate them and you're going to be in their life and you got their back or something and you don't do it. Or you do it with the wrong heart and they feel it. So when people are sick, which is talking about we're going into Virgo season, if people are sick and if people are not well and we're helping other people, people live longer when you come and visit them when you really wanted to come and visit them. People heal quicker when you love them and you giving them time, money, and energy and you really wanted to do it. If you didn't really want to do it, they can feel it. This is why grandma gonna die. This is why these people are ill and these people don't come back out the hospital. People either not coming to see them, or you coming to see them rushed, or you coming to see them mad, or you coming to see them when you mean. You get what I mean? You're not coming because you really wanted to come. You coming because everybody else asked you where you was at. You're just showing up and your heart not there. Yeah, that has a lot to do with their healing process. And it's because of you. It's a lot of that. When you bring in your negative energy or your dark energy or you got your own mess and you come in somebody's hospital room or somebody's bedroom or somebody's home where they're trying to recover from a surgery or however, yeah, you wrong for that. You wrong for that. So just give somebody a real no than a fake yes. A real no is better than a fake yes every day of the week. Okay, because you're respecting them and you're respecting yourself, and that goes back to your credit score. Because you are always watching you. And so that's why you have guilt later when you do things, or that's why you feel elevated later when you do things. This is how you measure yourself. You are watching you. That's why nobody else can make you feel guilty about anything that you're doing. And nobody else can make you feel good about something that you're doing. This is why some of us feel bad and everybody else is going, you did so good. And you're like, oh, it sucked. Why? Because I measure myself. We're not looking for validation. It's not what it looked like to you. It's what it felt like to me. And so that's the same thing it is when we're doing something for other people. You got to be true to this thing. You got to be real to that thing, And guess why? Because if not, the only person that's going back on is you. So that's why you giving somebody $20, 20 minutes, you got to be a real $20 and a real 20 minutes. If you giving somebody a hug, let it be a real hug. If it ain't real and the intent is not there, don't even do it. Because we can feel it. And so don't undermine everybody else's spirituality and don't undermine other people's intellect. Don't undermine other people at all. And that's why I say you wonder why people don't call you back. We wonder why we haven't talked to somebody in a while. But you have to think about your dealings with somebody the last time you talked to them or the way we treat them. And so that's why I say Virgo is dealing with the customer service of your life. You always at work and you always in court and you are always serving other people. And it's not always going to be about you. I will say this, though, before I go. It is more about you than you think. When you do something for someone, when you keep your word, it's never about them. It is more about you than you think. You're not keeping your word to them. You're keeping your word to yourself. You promised yourself something. You promised yourself that you was going to be there at this time for somebody. You promised yourself that you was going to do this for somebody. And that's why people get the benefit of what you do for you when you do it for yourself. So when you keep your word to yourself, it's easier to keep your word to everybody else. And nobody can make a liar out of you if you don't lie to yourself about anything. And so a lot of us lie to ourselves. A lot of us front and do things and so we can look good, and it's not with a good heart. And that's why a lot of us believe and we think that we're good people when you probably the worst person. You know what I mean? Because you did what it looked good, but you didn't do what felt good. And a lot of us, we worry about what it looks like. So you have to think about that. And that's why you'll go through situations and you wondering why you got that ticket or why this happened to you or whatever in traffic or whatever. But you have to think about what you put out. And so, that's why I say, what have you done for me lately? This is what the universe is saying to you. When you got your hand out, what you did for me? What you gonna do for me? So you have to think about that. And like I say, a lot of us are living day to day. So you can't do it. Pretend like everything is your first time doing it and act like everything is your last time doing it. And that is a meditation and a prayer of yourself. Life is a walking meditation and life is a walking prayer. And so every step is a part of your breath. And that's why I say act like everything is your first time doing it and your last time doing it. This is my first time doing it. I never did this before. It's my last time doing it. I may never do it again. And this is when you put quality in everything that you're doing. All right, you guys? And that's what Virgo is telling you to do. So have a rhythm about yourself. And, I would say be steady about what you're doing. You get what I mean? And you can see what you're supposed to see. And it's easier to see the magic when you're taking your time. You know what I mean? And when you are measuring things, don't measure things without love. Because Virgo can do that sometimes, which is why they can come off very cold and very calculating, type people, just like your doctor or somebody just don't have no emotion to it. They just you're gonna die, you have cancer. Virgos just sometimes are just blunt like that. They just I'm not gonna make it, and so we have to, we always trying to put a little bit more water over there to that Virgo, because that rock sometimes can be so hard. And so that's why they can turn off, so they can seem so cold, and they're not. They just can seem so cold because of their response to things. All is well, you guys, though. I know I started rambling a little bit, but everything kind of flows together. So I'm just going, I'm like, let me say this too before I go. But all is well, you guys. Pray and meditate. The prayer is the talking, but the meditation is the listening, and that's just so very important. And that's a lot of a good part of your walk with the divine. And your walk with the divine is the Pisces of it all, and the ordering and the measuring of your steps is the Virgo of it all. And it really is an amazing relationship with the signs and what they all do with each other and how they all correlate. And so, peace and love to the Virgos. Love the Virgos. I never thought I would like Virgos. I've only started liking Virgos the past 5 years. I used to hate Virgos. And like I say, you respect signs more when you see what they can do. You respect all signs when you see their magic and when you see them in higher self. So I don't like Virgos in lower self, but I love a Virgo, what they can do. And when I see them in their beautiful high point, it's a good place to be. And like I say, it's always a safe place to be. And that's any earth sign. Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus, those are safe places to be. We ain't gonna get into the other signs, especially not the air signs. Okay, they're gonna blow you away. You're gonna blow in the wind. So you need an earth sign to keep you grounded. Those are good spouses and good parents. A lot of times earth signs. So it goes back to the Virgo being very responsible. They always pay their dues. And so that's why they're good at having a mate, as dealing with a mate. But like I say, they can be too caught up in the details to where you don't want to deal with their crap when they analyzing too much. They overanalyze too much. They worry a little bit too much sometimes. All is well with that, though. Peace and love, you guys, and I hope you enjoy your night.